Welcome to the second episode of our series, delving deep into the origins of Islamic terrorism. In our first episode, we uncovered the systematic acts of terror orchestrated by Muhammad against his critics and political opponents. We examined the historical terrors inflicted upon three poets who dared to mock and criticize him. Today, we continue our exploration, revealing more shocking instances of systematic terror led by Muhammad and his followers. Stay with us as we unfold the untold chapters of history and see whether Muhammad, as the spiritual leader of Muslims, truly laid the foundation for Islamic terrorism. In the aftermath of migrating from Mecca to Medina in 622 CE, Muhammad took significant steps to establish an Islamic government with the support of the two major Medinan tribes, Aus and Khazraj. Yet criticism against him was met with a fierce response, setting the stage for a series of organized terrors. Ibn Sunaynah was a prominent Jewish Meccan from the Banu Qaynuqa tribe who had strong trade ties with some of the Banu Khazraj clans, one of the tribes of Medina that largely accepted Muhammad's leadership and prophethood. But things changed dramatically after the Battle of Badr in 624 CE. Ibn Sunaynah openly defied Muhammad's prophethood and insulted and denounced Muhammad. The Banu Qaynuqa were accused of breaking the constitution of Medina, a crucial pact that governed the relations between Muslims and Jews, an agreement aimed to create a united community with mutual rights and obligations that also clearly forbade any alliances and hostilities with external enemies. They also mocked Muhammad and his followers. They even allegedly abused a Muslim woman in their market, which sparked a conflict with the Muslims. Muhammad reacted quickly and harshly. Muslims surrounded their fortresses for 15 days until they gave up. Muhammad intended to kill them, but Abdullah ibn Ubay, the chief of the Banu Khazraj, convinced him to spare them and expel them instead. The Muslims also took their property and wealth. You might think that Ibn Sunaynah and his tribe had already suffered enough for their nonconformity, but Muhammad's resentment was not appeased. He wanted his Jewish rivals to endure more pain. It is very horrific how some of the early Islamic historians begin their narration of this incident. Reading exactly from At-Tabari, The History of the Prophets and Kings, Volume 3, pages 112 to 113. When the messenger of God returned from the Battle of Badr, he ordered the people to kill any of the Jews they could. This means Muhammad ordered a genocide against the Jews of Medina. At-Tabari continues, Muhaisa bin Mas'ud killed one, meaning a Jew, who was one of the Jewish merchants and had the name Ibn Sunaynah. Muhaisa was accompanied by his younger brother Aus and his nephew. They reached the house of Ibn Sunaynah at dawn and found him sitting outside. Muhaisa then approached Ibn Sunaynah and killed him. This is how Ibn Hisham and Ibn Ishaq narrate this incident and its aftermath. The apostle, meaning Muhammad, said, "Kill any Jew that falls into your power." Thereupon Muhaisa, son of Mas'ud, leaped upon Ibn Sunaynah, a Jewish merchant with whom they had social and business relations, and killed him. Huwaisa was not a Muslim at the time, though he was the elder brother. When Muhaisa killed him, Huwaisa began to beat him, saying, "You enemy of God, did you kill him when much of the fat on your belly comes from his wealth?" Muhayyisa's response to his brother is one of the most disturbing statements one can hear. "Had the one who ordered me to kill him ordered me to kill you, I would have cut your head off." He, meaning the narrator, said that this was the beginning of Huwayyisa's acceptance of Islam. The other replied, "By God, if Muhammad had ordered you to kill me, would you have killed me?" "Yes, by God, had he ordered me to cut off your head, I would have done so." He exclaimed, "By God, a religion which can bring you to this is surprising." And he became a Muslim. Ibn Hisham, The Life of Muhammad, Volume 2, pages 45 to 46. The poor guy perhaps just accepted Islam out of fear for his life, or he was so impressed by this barbaric devotion of his brother to kill others for a man whom he had known only for 2 to 3 years. A man who taught his brother, you either kill for Allah and get promoted in his system of thought, or get killed for Allah and get to sleep with beautiful houris in heaven. As Al-Waqidi reports, when Ibn Sunaynah fell to the ground, his cloak and turban slipped off, revealing a belt full of gold coins around his waist. Muhayyisa took the belt and said, "This is the booty of Allah and His Messenger." He then entered the house of Ibn Sunaynah and seized all his weapons and food and distributed them among the Muslims. Ibn Sa'd tells us the killing of Ibn Sunaynah also sparked a controversy among the Muslims, as some of them objected to the act of Muhayyisa. Among them was his little brother, Aus, who complained that he should have arrested Ibn Sunaynah and brought it to Muhammad. Muhayyisa responded, "Muhammad sent me to kill him, not to bring him back. He knew what I was doing, and he approved of my action." Aus said, "But you took his belt of gold, which was his property. You should have left it for Muhammad and the Muslims. The belt was the booty of Allah and His Messenger, and I took it as a reward for my service. Muhammad did not object to that, and he praised me for my courage and loyalty." When the matter was brought to Muhammad, he declared that Muhayyisa had done the right thing by obeying him and killing Ibn Sunaynah, even though he was his friend. He praised Muhayyisa for his faith and devotion and said that he had been inspired by God to do so. He also welcomed Huwayyisa, the brother of Muhayyisa, to Islam and said that he had been guided by God as well. Ibn Ishaq reports that Muhammad said to Huwayyisa, who had doubts about killing Ibn Sunaynah, "If you had seen what your brother did, you would have not held back." This account was also certified by Ibn Hisham and At-Tabari with few more details. This historical episode reveals many lessons for us. One is that following Muhammad's example in this case, individual Muslims can choose their targets of terror based on some general instructions. For instance, in this case, Muhammad simply ordered Muslims to kill any Jews they encounter. Then Muhayyisa on his own selected Ibn Sunaynah as his victim, even though Ibn Sunaynah was beneficial to many Medinans. Muhammad approved of this terror as the leader of the society. But what if Muhayyisa's act was disapproved and it damaged many interests? Or what if everyone acted on their own judgment and killed someone they disliked? Wouldn't that create disorder and chaos in the society? Another point is that even if we assume that Muhayyisa's older brother embraced Islam sincerely, can we trust an ideology that attracts its followers through terror and fear to lead the whole community to a true and lasting happiness? Now let's take this further and imagine that people live in a community based on a doctrine with the best proven results in today's world, such as liberalism and humanism. Can we trust to welcome people who follow an ideology that contradicts the core principles of such a successful doctrine? Can we allow, without any concern, any member of such an ideology to join our humanistic society? What if tomorrow a devout Muslim who wants to emulate Muhammad in every aspect decides to kill a professor who wrote a book criticizing Muhammad and Islam? Remember, according to Muslims, Muhammad is a flawless model for all humanity, and he never sinned or erred, and he must be obeyed in every detail of his conduct. And thus, any criticism of him is an insult to him and deserves a harsh punishment. The irony is that, however, in Islamic societies, liberalism is denounced as an anti-Islamic doctrine and is resisted and even regarded as a threat to Islamic societies, and they persecute politicians who believe in liberalism and imprison them. On the other hand, it seems that liberal societies are too timid to declare Islam as a fundamental danger to their society, and they still claim that based on the freedom of religion, a Muslim can peacefully coexist in their community. But how can a devout Muslim who has to firmly believe in all verses of the Quran and all aspects of Muhammad's methodology live in harmony within a liberal society when he considers any criticism of Muhammad as an insult to Muhammad, and then based on a Quranic verse and Muhammad's own actions in a similar situation, decides on his own to punish a non-believer. Abu Rafe, our next victim, was a wealthy and influential man who had a large fortress and many followers. He was the chief of the Banu Nadir tribe who lived in Khaybar, a Jewish oasis near Medina. He was a Jewish poet and scholar who knew the Torah well and was a friend of Ka'b, son of Al-Ashraf, who we talked about his assassination as well in the first episode. He was a critic of Muhammad and the Muslims, and of course, as we always see in the reports of Muslim historians, he also incited the Quraysh of Mecca and other Arab tribes against them. According to these historians, he also forged and altered the Torah to suit his own interests and to mislead the people. According to At-Tabari and Al-Waqidi, when Muhammad returned from the Battle of the Trench, the Khazraj tribe said to one another, "The Aus tribe has gained a merit by killing Ka'b bin al-Ashraf, who was an enemy of Allah and His Apostle. Let us kill Abu Rafe or Salam bin Abi al-Huqaq, who is also an enemy of Allah and His Apostle, and who has incited the Quraysh and their allies against us." So they went to Muhammad and said, "O Apostle of Allah, we have decided to kill Abu Rafi, who has harmed you and us. Give us your permission." The Apostle of Allah said, "Yes, go ahead." This narration reveals the Khazraj tribe's desire to please Muhammad and outdo the Aus tribe by assassinating another Jewish leader. Thus, there was competition over killing political opponents for Muhammad between two main Medinian tribes. As a result, in the year 626 CE, Abdullah ibn Atiq and his men arrived at Khaybar and met Abu Rafi. They used the same technique they used in the case of Ka'b al-Ashraf. So they pretended to be unhappy with Muhammad and the Muslims and asked Abu Rafi to help them with some money and weapons. They convinced Abu Rafi to accompany them to Medina. Shortly after leaving Khaybar, Abdullah ibn Atiq signaled to his men to attack Abu Rafi and his men. He said to Abu Rafi, "I have brought you to your death, O enemy of Allah." He then stabbed him in the heart. His crew then attacked him and his men and killed them all. They then cut off Abu Rafi's head and took it to Muhammad, who praised them for their deed. In the chapter on the killing of Abu Rafi, Ibn Hisham narrates that Abdullah bin Atiq sent Abdullah bin Unais, one of his companions, to spy on the fortress of Abu Rafi to confirm that he was indeed the real Abu Rafi and not someone else who looked like him. According to some sources, Abu Rafi apparently had a brother who resembled him. Abdullah bin Unais heard some Jews saying, "By God, something terrible has happened tonight. Abu Rafi has been killed." Abdullah bin Unais was so happy that he almost shouted, "Allah is great." He then returned to his companions and told them the good news. Yes, they had succeeded in their mission and had brought fear and sorrow to the Jews. This narration shows that the Muslims did not care about verifying the identity of their targets and that they were willing to kill anyone who was associated with Abu Rafi, regardless of their innocence or guilt. This reflects the extremist ideology and violent tactics of the early Islamic movement, which sought to eliminate any opposition or criticism of Muhammad and his religion. This also foreshadows the later atrocities committed by Muslim terrorists, such as the Bali bombings of 2002, the Charlie Hebdo shooting of 2015, and the Hamas-led attack on Israel in 2023. These attacks also targeted civilians and non-combatants and caused massive casualties and suffering. In the same chapter, Ibn Hisham narrates that the killer crew reached Medina before dawn and went to the mosque where Muhammad was praying. He says that they greeted him and said, "We have killed Abu Rafi. May God accept our deed." He says that Muhammad asked them, "Which of you killed him?" They all said, I did. He says that Muhammad asked them to show him their swords, and he saw that the sword of Abdullah bin Atiq had traces of blood and food on it. Muhammad said, "This is the sword that killed him. You have done a great service to God and His Apostle, O Abdullah bin Atiq." He congratulated them and thanked them for their bravery and sacrifice. This narration depicts that Muhammad was eager to commend his killers and encourage them to engage in more acts of terror. The killing of Abu Rafe was celebrated by the Muslims and especially by Hassan ibn Sabit, the poet of the Prophet, who composed a poem in praise of the killers. "You have killed the enemy of Allah and His Messenger, the one who corrupted the Torah and lied about Allah. You have avenged the blood of Badr and the honor of Islam. You have made the Quraysh mourn and the Jews grieve. You have brought joy to the hearts of the faithful, and you have earned the reward of paradise." Possibly sleeping with Houris, he meant. Hey, by the way, if you guys liked what you heard so far, please support us by liking and sharing this video. This will also help more people to receive this awareness and help you to get suggested more similar videos on YouTube. Especially, I ask you for a favor to like the video because so many radical Muslims often attack this channel by disliking its videos to prevent YouTube from spreading its clips. Rufa'ah, son of Qais al-Jushami, was one of the leaders of Banu Jusham tribe, who were allies of the Quraysh tribe of Mecca. The Quraysh tribe were the main opponents of Muhammad and the Muslims, and they fought several battles with them. Rufa'ah was hostile to the new religion of Islam, and he wanted to gather the people of Qais, another Arab tribe, and entice them to fight the Muslims. Before we continue with the story of the killing of Rufa'ah, let us learn more about the man who killed him. Abdullah, son of Abi Hadrat al-Aslami. He was a poor man who had married a woman of his tribe, the Banu Aslam, and promised her 200 dirhams as a dowry. According to Ibn Hisham al-Waqidi and at-Tabari, Abdullah came to Muhammad and said, "O Apostle of God, I have married a woman of the Banu Aslam, and I have agreed to give her 200 dirhams as a dowry, but I do not have them. Can you lend me some money?" Muhammad said, "I do not have any money to give you, O Abdullah, but if you want, I can send you on a mission, and you can take some booty from the enemy." "I am ready to do whatever you command, O Apostle of God." "Then go to Al-Ghaba, where Rufa'ah, son of Qais al-Jushami, and his men are camping. They are plotting to gather the people of Qais and entice them to fight us. Spy on them and bring me news of them, and if you can, kill Rufa'ah, son of Qais al-Jushami, for he is the head of the mischief." Abdullah agreed to the mission, and he chose 2 other men to accompany him. They set out to Al-Ghaba, where they hid near the camp of Rufa'ah and his men. They waited until the night when they saw Rufa'ah coming out of his tent. As he passed by Abdullah, he shot him in the heart with an arrow, and he fell dead. He then cut off his head and ran away, shouting, "Allah is great." His companions followed him, and they escaped with the head and some cattle. They returned to Muhammad and informed him of their deed. Muhammad praised them and said, "You have done a great service to God and His Apostle, O Abdullah." He also gave him the cattle as a reward, and he was able to pay the dowry for his wife. This historical account reveals the manipulative nature of Muhammad, who used the poverty and financial desperation of his followers to his own political advantage. Even if we accept the argument that these terrors were necessary to prevent future attacks from the enemies of Islam, we still have to question the moral and spiritual integrity of Muhammad, who claimed to be the prophet of God. Instead of resorting to assassination and plunder, wouldn't it be more fitting for a religious leader to focus on his own community and spread his message through peaceful and respectful means? Muhammad did send letters to kings of Persia, Rome, and Egypt to invite them to Islam when he was still a relatively peaceful leader in Mecca.
Why did he not keep on the same method with the local chiefs and leaders who were closer to him in geography and culture? Why did he resort to assassination and plunder instead of dialogue and persuasion? The most plausible explanation is that Muhammad was driven by a thirst for power and that he used violence and intimidation to achieve his political and religious goals. Before I finish this clip, I will read you a beautiful poem from Khayyam, a Persian poet who believed in God but was a critic of Islam.
We talked about the interpretation of Khayyam's poems and the history behind them in this clip.
In the next episode, we will explore another shocking episode of Muhammad's history where he makes a list of people to be killed after he conquers Mecca. Like and subscribe to see more from us in the future, and share this clip to spread awareness and critical thinking. We would love to hear your thoughts and opinions about these terrors ordered directly by Muhammad. How do you rationalize them, or why do you reject them? How do you justify them, or why do you condemn them? Till later, peace out.
Some say that heaven with houris is so sweet. I say that sweet is the grape juice at our feet. Take the cash and let go of any credit. The grass on the other side always looks